At our cue.
Yeah, when he puts the picture on the screen.
What does that mean?
Well, it's gonna, at some point, you're gonna see us come into view.
Gotcha.
And that way you.
Gotcha. All right. There. All right. Welcome to the July 26th City Council meeting at 7 o'clock. I ask that we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have a roll call?
Councilmember James.
Present.
Present. Councilmember Polika.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Leaks May.
Here.
And Mayor Piana.
I would like to, would anyone entertain a motion to excuse Mayor Piana's absence from the council meeting tonight?
I entertain that motion.
Second.
Councilmember James.
Oh, yes.
Councilmember Mikulski.
Yes.
Councilmember Polika.
Yes.
And Mayor Pro Tem Leaks May.
Yes. And now we're moving on to the approval of the agenda.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve the agenda with the following amendments. Remove item 5B and 5C as those presenters were not able to be present.
Support.
Councilmember Mikulski.
Yes.
Councilmember Polika.
Yes.
Councilmember James.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Leaks May.
Yes. All right, so the electric meeting procedures. Yes, and the way in which we'll go regarding the call to audience is that we typically go, who's in the audience first, and then on Zoom, online. All right. We are moving on to presentations. Presentation 5A is the resolution honoring the public service career of Finance Director Cheryl Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I can introduce this. First, I would ask Kara if we could take a moment to elevate Cheryl Johnson. Is she broadcasting live? Cheryl, are you there? We'll give Cheryl just a moment, and while we give her a moment to log on, I am thrilled to read a resolution that staff prepared. First, to introduce Cheryl Johnson is the city's finance director. Cheryl was hired in 2016, and unfortunately, Cheryl will be leaving the city for an employment opportunity with Oakland County. And so what we like to do with our directors that have served for over 5 years is to acknowledge service through resolutions and awards. And so we have prepared a resolution that reads, on August 3rd, 2021, Finance Director Cheryl Johnson will transition her employment from the city of Ferndale after 5 years of public service. Since her arrival, Cheryl has led as a distinguished member of our leadership team and a stabilizing force for the finance department. Cheryl is a relationship person first and a numbers person second, with an innate understanding that building trust as an important prerequisite of relationship building and financial oversight. She's always led an example in this area. Cheryl's community commitment expanded beyond the organization when she agreed to serve in the treasurer role for the Ferncare Free Clinics Executive Committee. Her commitment to professional leadership expanded as she accepted an appointment to serve on the board of directors for the Michigan Government Finance Officers Association, MGFOA, a professional organization of finance officials dedicated to promoting excellence in government finance. Cheryl offered a critical leadership perspective in supporting the adoption of the first City Council strategic plan including arguing for organizational and financial excellence as a benchmark for critical success. As such, she helped the city sustain its noteworthy AA- credit rating and focused on implementing accurate budget forecasts and supporting partner agencies like the Downtown Development Association and Brownfield Redevelopment Association. Therefore, be it resolved, if council chooses to, Mayor Melanie Piana, on behalf of Ferndale City Council, extends the city's congratulations to Cheryl Johnson in her new ventures. Cheryl is a credit to the, to the community, to city government, and the leadership team, and it's with a heartfelt appreciation that we celebrate her contributions and achievements. The resolution reads more bureaucratic language than I care to read, and I'm sure you care to hear. So honestly, Cheryl, I would just like to informally thank you for your years of service. We did present Cheryl with her service award this afternoon in front of her staff, and we're very proud of the work that she has done. So thank you for the opportunity to recognize Cheryl's service. And did I buy Cheryl enough time to join? Well, then I will defer back to council for comments and considerations.
Before we make comments, I would like to make a motion that we accept the resolution that was by unanimous consent. I'll go first through the chair. It has truly been a pleasure, Cheryl. It's weird talking to you with you not here. It has really been a pleasure working with you.
Recording in progress.
Now I have to watch what I say. You've been here through all the time that I've been here, and you really did make understanding the finances in the city a lot easier for me, for a number of us on council, I know. You simplified things, yet you took on a lot of additional work, and always made sure that we had all the information we needed to make the best decisions. And on a personal note, you're just a great person, and I've enjoyed working with you immensely, and I'm going to miss you in that office. So, but I wish you the best. I know you're going to work with a great team, and it's a wonderful opportunity, so I do wish you the best. And I know you still hang out here in Ferndale, so I think I can always catch you at Jay's Penalty.
If I may, through the chair, I'll keep it relatively short and sweet, but Cheryl, wherever you are in Zoom land, it's been a privilege and an honor to work with you for just over a year and a half. You have been a reliable professional, and I've really enjoyed working with you, and you just have a dynamite personality that I'm going to miss. And it's, bittersweet losing you, but it's soothed by knowing that you're taking up a really great opportunity, and I'm really, really happy for you.
I'd like to also just say to Cheryl, well, Cheryl, it's been a few years since I've known you, and I remember really getting to know you when we had, the city had its first Take Your Children to Work Day. And I met you and your son, and we were talking. I brought my children, my son and my daughter, and we just really got to talking. Our children got to talking. And it was such a wonderful time just getting to know you then. And since then, I've really relied on you regarding the city finances and explaining the complications to me. And you've always been available, and I see that we have you till August 3rd, so that means you're still available. So I will be reaching out to you for some questions, but I just really am happy for you that you've found something that's good and that works for your family, and we're going to miss you here at the city. So I ask that you don't be a stranger, and I wish you and your family well. Did we get Cheryl back yet?
I think we're coordinating the details still, but I would say On Cheryl's behalf, I'm sure she appreciates the acknowledgement and recognition, and I sincerely do appreciate your years of service, Cheryl. We are recording this, so you can watch this later if you're unable to watch this now. Thank you.
On that note, then, I believe we will be moving on to presentation 5B, presentation of the Ferndale Accessibility and Inclusion Advisory Commission Year-End Report, presented by Joe.
I can actually introduce this on behalf of our Assistant City Manager, Kyle Paulette. Kyle is the staff liaison to the FAIAC. Per the ordinance update for boards and commissions last year, Council's ordinance requests that each commission present once a year, just annual highlights and accomplishments, and provide a preview of objectives that they might have for the coming year if they're so moved. And with that, tonight we have two commissions presenting reports this evening. First, I believe this item is, yes, the FAIAC. I do not actually know who's introducing the FAIAC on behalf of the commission.
Alan Hale is planning to, but we are having trouble with the Zoom feed, so he is unable to join the meeting. He's only able to view on YouTube.
Understood. Should we?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm getting texts from people that are trying to get into Zoom. They can't hear. All they see is Cheryl Johnson's name, but no volume, no voice, nothing.
It's broadcasting on YouTube right now. If people can tune in that way until we can figure out what the.
Can we move to adjourn the meeting for 5 minutes to give us?
I move that we adjourn the meeting for 5 minutes due to,
I think one of us has to move, but.
Yeah, I make that motion to adjourn for 5 minutes while we resolve the issues on.
Second.
all right, meeting moved to adjourn for 5 minutes.
go.
All right, welcome back to the City Council meeting. And we will start again with the presentation 5B, presentation of the Ferndale Accessibility and Inclusion Advisory Commission Year-End Report. And I believe that's Alan Hale and Rachel Zabak presenting.
Great. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks for helping with the technical difficulties today. I know the hybrid workplace and city government place is still new to all of us. So today, Rachel and I are here to give the Ferndale Accessibility and Inclusion Advisory Commission report. We extended our full 2020 and 2021 scope, and we'll give you an overview of what we've been up to. So a little bit about our commission. I know we have presented before, but I know there's probably folks in the room and online who are new to us. We are the Ferndale Accessibility and Inclusion Advisory Commission, which was a rebooted commission that used to exist in Ferndale. I believe it used to be the Ferndale Disability Advisory Commission. And we rebanded thanks to several people who are in the council chambers today who helped connect some of us who are passionate about making Ferndale more accessible for folks with disabilities. We have a mission to make Ferndale a place of choice to work, live, and visit for people with disabilities and remove barriers to access our community. Today, for our members, we have myself, Alan Hale, Monica Daub-Mills, Charles Hall, Rachel Zabak, and we are proud to say we do have 3 spots open on our commission. A lot of life changes here towards the end of the pandemic for members of our community. So we have a few alumni now, Marciano, Nina, and Ann Meggs, who are all instrumental in creating our commission. Our city council liaison is Mayor Pro Tem Raylon Leaks-May, and our city staff liaison is Kyle Paulette. And pictured here on our page is we had the pleasure of being one of the first commissions to meet in City Hall post-pandemic and after the restrictions were lifted. And I believe we checked it out, and we may have been the first commission to get to sit in the chairs. So that was really fun for us. With that, I'll turn it over to Rachel.
Hello, everyone. Thank you again for having us here to do this report. Sorry, it's a little hard to concentrate with the earlier audio echoing, but I'll try my best. So, happy Disability Pride Month. All throughout July, it has been Disability Pride Month, which celebrates the anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA. It was signed into law on July 26, 1990, which means that July 26, 2021, today, is the 31st anniversary of the signing of the ADA. This was a landmark law that afforded all disabled Americans a lot of rights that we did not have access to before. This is celebrated across the U.S., and oh God, the echo is really bad.
Is your YouTube still up, Rachel?
That's what it is.
I made the mistakes.
Give me a sec. Oh my God, that's what it was the entire time. Okay, finally, quiet. Okay, let me back up. So the ADA was extremely important because it gave all sorts of rights to the disabled Americans that we didn't have before. And so because of that, it is celebrated all across the United States. The importance of Disability Pride Month is it's a time for us to recognize action and accountability that we can all take to raise, like, to increase the inclusion of people with disabilities within each of our communities. What can we do to make sure that our disabled neighbors, fellow citizens, feel included, affirmed, and involved in the communities that we share with them? So, we're very proud to say that we've met with a lot of different departments and bodies within the city as far as our responsibilities over the last year have been concerned with, like, corresponding with different parts of Ferndale, participating in a lot of different city projects in an advisory role, just communicating with other people who have roles in the city. The departments that we've met with include the mayor and city council, the city manager and assistant city manager, the city clerk, the community and economic development department, Department of Public Works, Human Resources Communications, the Downtown Development Authority, also known as the DDA, Parks and Recreation, Special Events, and then the Ferndale Fire and Police Departments. So we've been pretty busy, and we'd like to think that we've done a lot of good through these correspondences. All throughout our interactions with different organizing bodies within the city, we've managed to give a lot of support to a lot of different projects. So Ellen and I are going to go half and half on this slide. I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of my favorite initiatives, and he's going to talk about a couple of his favorite initiatives, and then he'll have a couple slides after this one. So I think that one of the things that excited me the most, or at least that felt like one of the biggest steps forward, was our discussions with the Ferndale Police Department about Autism Acceptance Month. There was, as many of you may recall, some controversy surrounding, like, how different bodies within the city chose to celebrate Autism Acceptance Month. The Ferndale Police Department in particular had a police car with puzzle piece decals on it. They had a number of different components to what they were doing. It drew some criticism from the greater Ferndale community. And so we sat down with the Ferndale Police Department and discussed what the nuances were of kind of what had happened, what could potentially be done better going forward, given that we have two autistic members on the FAIC, myself included. And ultimately, it was a very productive conversation in which I think that some real progress was made. In addition, something that felt very significant when we did it was the accessibility walkthrough that we participated in at the dock. Back when the parking structure was not completely finalized, but like the majority of it was already built, we were invited to tour it, to bring up various aspects of it that we thought might be important accessibility-wise in terms of, like, these things are good, these things need improvements. It was a very productive morning. We made a lot of points. We got a lot of information across. And the hope is that going forward with projects like this in the future, we'll be involved much earlier in that planning process so that we're able to make recommendations before things are fully implemented, saving the city time and money in adjusting things to be more accessible with these public works.
Thanks, Rachel. And maybe one of my favorite projects, the last slide where we listed the amount of groups we've made contact with, a big part of being a new commission and a big part of where accessibility touches basically everything we do. It's everywhere people with disabilities are included, which is hopefully every activity the city's doing. We had to build a foundation, and so it took time, and it took a lot of sitting down, learning the perspective of folks within the city. But one of the I think pivotal moments of our commission was when the city started to come to us for help. And I want to give a big shout out to Jordan Twardy, who came to us after the DOT walkthrough. They started to talk about the art that they wanted to do to start to attract businesses into the DOT. So pictured here, as you can see, we had provided, we came together as a whole commission. Everybody had kind of a say and got to come up with some piece of how we could make this art inclusive. And honestly, we had expected maybe one to be selected and hidden throughout the art. But we were really impressed where almost every suggestion that we did made was incorporated in some way. And so it was a way to work between the city. We also worked with Studio Incognita, the artist that developed this. And you can see it's kind of the Where's Waldo of accessibility. And this is what it's meant to be. This is what authentic representation of people with disabilities looks like in advertising. So not only was this the cool project where the city started to come to us for advice instead of us knocking on doors, but it was also just a great example of what we should be seeing out in the world more often. And I can talk through these examples. The top one is an amputee who is in the middle of purchasing a skateboard. The middle one is a white cane user in the back in what looks to be a bookstore. And then the last one in the foreground is a power wheelchair user who's sitting in the lobby waiting for maybe an appointment. So that was a really fun project. One of the ones I think we're looking forward to the most is getting to work with the master land use plan and being invited by the city to participate in that. I think it has the most impact going forward for how we can better influence some of our lens of how we build our accessible spaces. And one of the things, today is the anniversary of the ADA, so I can touch on this for a moment. But the ADA it covers a lot of things and it's very extensive. But it doesn't do the best at including things like deaf spaces. It doesn't do the best at including things like cognitive friendly spaces. So going forward, this is something we can make sure that there is this buffer where we could go a little above and beyond the ADA within reason and within compromise, but we can make sure that we make Ferndale a landmark for accessibility and inclusion of folks with disabilities. To talk a little bit about us branching out, we're starting to partner more with other commissions as well. And the DDA is both a department of the city, but also somewhat of a commission. So I want to give a special shout out to the DDA. Has really been a big champion for us, both in our annual award, which we'll talk about a little bit later. They've been kind of the guts behind a lot of that and making sure that as an advisory commission, we don't have resources. So the DDA has been kind enough to make sure that we have the resources we need to help spread the word on disability inclusion. I'm really proud to say we've been working with the Ferndale Arts and Cultural Commission. They consulted us for placement of the DIA art, and we made sure that the modes that things were communicated in could appeal to people with different senses. So to make sure that there is a website folks can go to where for different technologies like screen readers and other things, they can get that description and maybe have the same or similar experience to other people who get to walk around and see our art. We do have some of our members are involved with different committees. So we have Nina Kelly, who is on our commission, also sat with the Ferndale Housing Commission on their Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Anti-Racism Task Force. So these examples are great for cross-pollinating ideas where we can make accessibility a part of that as well and make a positive influence kind of beyond our commission's traditional reach. And then we're also excited. We've been tapped by the Planning Commission to sit in on some key developments where for either large apartment complexes or others where we can provide a lens on accessibility. And maybe the simple example of that is one of the developments proposed for Bermuda had the accessible parking spaces about as far away from the elevator entrance as possible. And that was a simple suggestion from us to reconfigure that. So hopefully in the years to come, people will be using those spaces and will benefit from that. And then our new Chamber of Commerce, SOAR, has invited us and ensured we're included in their group for their speed networking events, which I've been able to attend a few, both to promote our award, but also it's fun to talk to local business owners about accessibility and what folks think of that. We're still hoping to hear maybe some more employment stories within Ferndale that we can share. With that, I'll turn it over to Rachel to give a brief overview of our award.
Thank you so much. We are particularly proud of this. This is one of the big things that we worked on in the past year. The Accessibility and Inclusion Award is an award that we created that is going to be given to community leaders, namely organizations and businesses, on a semi-regular basis. In order to recognize organizations and businesses that go above and beyond ADA requirements to make their spaces and their resources accessible to disabled people of all walks of life. So the goals for this award ultimately are that we recognize the efforts made by the organization and the subsequent human impact that follows that effort. We're hoping that this will provide encouragement and inspiration for other businesses and organizations to follow suit and also make accessible improvements to their spaces and resources. We want to acknowledge incremental improvements and not just high dollar investments. So every little bit counts. We don't want places within Ferndale to think that only big, grand gestures are worthy of recognition. And there is, I mean, obviously it can't be clicked from within the presentation, but anybody who has access to the slideshow, there is a hyperlink at the bottom of the slide that leads to a form that someone might use to nominate either their own business or organization or a different business or organization within Ferndale. So we've so far awarded one Accessibility and Inclusion Award. We awarded it to Live Cannabis, which is a relatively new cannabis dispensary on Hilton. And ultimately, their initiatives that got our attention and that led us to decide to award them this, they have door-to-door wheelchair service from staff. They offer home delivery and curbside pickup for their products, and they have provided extensive training to their staff in how to speak American Sign Language so that their staff is capable of speaking ASL to anybody who needs that accommodation.
Thanks, Rich.
Oh, sorry. Just these pictures, you can see that on the left side is we created window things for this award that are being given to the organizations that ultimately awarded it. That allows them to display it proudly in front so that people can see it, because a big part of this is, that the word spreads that this is a thing that you can earn. On the right side, we see a picture of the certificate being awarded to Live Cannabis back on April 22nd. You'll see Alan and I, as well as Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Raylon Leaks May, and the Live manager. All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, Rachel. So a little bit about what's to come and what we're working on right now. We're in the middle of coordinating with several members of city staff for the MoGo bike service. Does have an adaptive cycling option. They're hoping to demo that in Ferndale. So stay tuned. That's happening fairly soon, hopefully within the next few weeks. And this is just a little snapshot of our planning board that we did to kick off the 2021 year. It's not intended to be readable. It's very small font. But out of brainstorming among the commission members so we built our foundation. We spent the last year building our foundation. And now we're equipped to start solving problems for accessibility from the community. So our priorities lie in making sure that our community members with disabilities have a voice and have a place where they can input their accessibility concerns that then as an advisory commission we can help with. So that's one of our priorities for this year. The other is to better embed ourselves with other community members in disability organizations, both in Ferndale, Oakland County, and throughout Southeast Michigan. We individually, as commission members, with all of us involved with different organizations, we all have anchors into a lot of these other groups, but we haven't necessarily done events yet together, which has been largely a limitation of the pandemic. So we're really looking forward to branching out a little more and making sure we're bringing voices that we can learn best practices from and teach folks new things about disability inclusion. And maybe the last point is we are extremely privileged to have a member of our commission who's very involved with emerging digital standards. So it's called Project Silver. This is the WCAG 3.0 initiative, which is the global web standards for accessibility. And we have a committee member lead from that lives here in Ferndale and is on our commission. So we want to make sure that we're able to leverage his expertise and to really improve digital accessibility across Ferndale. So that is a resource that if folks ever have questions, please come to our commission. And lastly, thank you all. We really appreciate the support we've gotten from everybody in the city for our commission. Being a new commission is a little daunting, but we've met only people who are really looking to learn and learn how they can take actions to improve accessibility and inclusion. So three kind of things to take away. Is if you ever see a business or an organization in Ferndale that seems like it is going out of its way to create initiatives in disability inclusion, please nominate them on our form. We've made the decision to just keep our form open all the time, and then we'll review that periodically to make sure that we get the awards to the business. So please find that link in the meeting minutes and nominate businesses you know of. And we are recruiting, as I mentioned at the beginning. We would love more passionate individuals who have experience with the disability community, either as a person with a disability, a caregiver, or an ally. We'd just love to continue growing our commission, seeing who we have in our community who's excited to teach us something new. It's always exciting. And as always, join us on Facebook. Right now, that's our main outlet for sharing news. We may be working on an independent website or some other form to share things in the future, but for now, Facebook is our main channel. So please find us there. We are the Ferndale Accessibility and Inclusion Advisory Commission.
All right. Thank you for your presentation and all the great work, Alan and Rachel. And I look forward to seeing you at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
All right, so the next presentation will be the Parks and Recreation Commission Year-End Report, presented by Lorena Reed Wheeler, our Parks and Rec Director.
Good evening, Council. I'm just excited to be able to introduce our Park Board, who will be presenting the presentation today. And we have Emily Obert, who will be presenting on behalf of all of our park members. We had a very successful year, I believe, and we've come a long way as a commission and as a team. And I will turn it over to Emily to actually just tell you all the great things that we've done and what we're planning for in the future.
Welcome, Emily.
Thanks. Can you guys hear me? I can't get.
Would you prefer a hand mic?
Yeah, I can't get that close.
Thank you, Martin. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's okay, though. It looks like Kara has one.
Yeah, I appreciate it. All right, is that working?
Nope.
I don't hear.
Yeah, you just have to speak loud.
Okay, I'll project. Thanks for having myself, and also here with me is Kelly, the co-chair for the Parks and Rec Commission. I think we have a couple slides to present, so if someone could pull those up, they are in the agenda packet. But I'll get started a little bit while someone does that. So, 2020 was a tough year for the Parks and Rec Commission, the Parks and Rec Department. As a commission, we spent much of our efforts last year scoping back park improvements to our parks to meet the financial constraints due to COVID. So that was kind of hard and disappointing work for the commission and the Parks and Rec Department, but we got through it, and now some of those projects are under construction, so that's great. We're moving forward. We did do a lot of brainstorming with the Parks and Rec staff to come up with creative ideas to engage the public and the community during the pandemic. A lot of our traditional recreational offerings, they couldn't happen. So that's what we spent a lot of our time doing. We did have some awesome things like Shipper Park opening. That ribbon cutting was really scaled back, but the park's open and we're all enjoying it now, so that's really great. And then we also had a subcommittee established on racial equity with Parks and Rec, and so Kelly and I had a chance to meet with an expert in community-informed research and data collection. And so there's a summary of the suggestions from that conversation in our appendix. So I won't go through them all, but we are thinking about racial equity in our Parks and Rec offerings, and that's really important to our commission. So if you could skip to the next slide. Thanks, perfect. So we're gonna focus this conversation or this presentation on the commission's strategic priorities going forward. And so if you go to the next slide, one of our main goals is to develop and improve relationships with other city groups. I feel like after seeing FAIAC's presentation, they have done so much relationship building this past year, and it's something that our commission really wants to do as well. And we've actually worked with FAIC to apply for some grants, and so we want to continue doing projects like that. And we also, I think, have tie-ins with the Beautification Commission and with our Sustainability Commission. So I think that will be critical to delivering on our purpose to be a conduit to the community. And we want to always look out for projects that overlap and reach out to those other commissions and groups so that we are collaborative and we're pooling resources. And we believe this would lead to greater efficiencies, increased participation, and overall better project outcomes. Can you go to the next slide for me? Thank you. And so another one of our main goals is to improve community communication and drive awareness for our park initiatives, and also our recreational offerings. And so this ties in really well with our master plan because there's a lot of communicating that's coming up. We want to increase the opportunities to listen to the community, like doing listening sessions in our parks. And of course, our meetings are always open to the public. We have an open door, and we love it when residents come to our commission meetings to, share concerns or bring ideas, whatever you want to talk about, we want to hear about it. So we want to continue to build new ways to gather community feedback and do more online surveys and maybe some interactive park signage. And so we'll see where the master plan and parks planning process takes us, but that's something we're already thinking about ahead of that process. And we're also wanting to build closer connection to area social groups, both online and offline type groups, and establish committed community groups to help develop a roadmap and guide direction in key areas. And that would include like Friends of the Skate Park or a potential future group centered around the dog park. So especially I could see the splash pad in the future too, where we have invested a lot of money and are continuing to keep an eye on what these smaller sub-communities need, user groups. That's where we're looking to establish these kind of communities. And then we think that this will ensure that community needs are met and drive equity and inclusion into our park system and recreational offerings. Next slide, please. So the last big goal for this commission is to help Parks and Rec staff prioritize improvements and activities. So this means, developing and updating plans for each park. Again, this ties in really well with the master planning process. Creating a prioritized list of items and elements so that as grants and other sources of funding become available, that we have our plans ready to go. We want to supplement, our commission wants to supplement the existing expertise and staffing by providing support for events and programs, by volunteering ourselves as, not just as commission members, but also, for an event. By recruiting additional volunteers as needed, and even doing things like sponsorship drives for programming, that type of thing. We also want to facilitate community conversations to gather feedback and share it with the Parks and Recs Department in a prioritized format that they can more readily use. And then ensure that park improvements and recreational activities align with the community's interests and needs, including prioritizing community health and wellness, which is so important to us, especially in the time of COVID, and recreation is so important to staying healthy. And then as well as, making sure that everyone's having fun and really enjoying all the things that we're putting out there with Parks and Rec. So, so as you can see, 2021, we're off to a great start. It's still, COVID is still slow, but we had Gravity, we have New Pass in Geary, we had some drive-in movies in the park, outdoor concerts. So the Parks and Rec Department is definitely, trying to keep things active and engaging, and more to come, as we move forward.
Thank you very much. A lot of good work. All right. So now we will go to presentation 5D, which is the charitable contribution to the Ferndale Community Foundation by Robertson Brothers Homes, as presented or introduced by Jordan Twardy. Are you here, Jordan?
Hi, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Thank you, everybody. Sorry, I was just getting unmuted. So I'm here and happy to introduce Tim Lochran of Robertson Brothers Homes, who is in there in person with you. I do want to just quickly apologize for the confusion last meeting. I had thought I had them confirmed for the previous July meeting, but it was actually today. So just making sure we were serious about accepting that contribution. So now that I know we're the real deal, here they are today to present the check. And so without further ado, I do believe Tim is there in the audience to present that check. And thank you all very much this evening.
Yes, hello. Tim Lochran, Director of Land Acquisition for Robertson Brothers Homes. This is really the best part of my job, so happy to be here. Some as Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. We, as I'm sure you're aware, are the developer of the Parkdale and Wilson Park Village communities in Ferndale. And, really this is something that we've started recently back up, donating $200 per home. Closed home in the communities that we build in. And we feel it's very important to give back to the community. It's not something we do as part of approvals. It's just important that we're able to contribute. We're very happy with, how everybody has treated us so well in Ferndale from the start. It's been, I think 2015 is when we started. So it's been a pretty long trip, but we just closed our last home in Parkdale. So hopefully everybody likes the communities, as they've been very much a success, we're happy to be here and happy to donate. So I could have mailed in the check to Jordan, but I felt it was important to do it in person. So happy to answer any questions, but certainly happy to donate. This there's actually a total of 100 homes, exactly 100 homes between the two communities. There's 72 in Parkdale and 28 in Wilson Park Village. So this would be the final payment on $20,000 total donation, which again, we're very happy to do. So, thank you.
Thank you. Council, or former Mayor Dan Martin, who is the chair of the foundation, with myself, are here to accept the check.
Sure. I just want to say on behalf of the Ferndale Community Foundation and the whole community, thank you very much. For those who don't know, the Ferndale Community Foundation is an organization that raises money throughout the year through donations. We're also the fiduciary for Ferndale Pride. And we take that money and we repurpose it back into the community, into area 501(c)(3)s and community organizations as micro grants through a grant process that we do in the fall of every year. And we've been able to support many wonderful projects in healthcare, recreation, public art, I think I said education, and a lot of different community service activities. We've supported the seniors, different sporting teams through the years. And it's just been a great organization, but we couldn't do it without help and people like you. So thank you so much for being such a great community partner. And thanks for having us here today to spread the word and to be recognized. So thank you. Yep.
Well, and through the chair, if I may add, 2020 was difficult for a lot of nonprofits, as well as us. And in December of 2020, you gave us a check for $10,000, and then in the fall, you gave us another check for $5,000. And because of that, we were able to give out $21,000 last December to a number, I think there was 10 nonprofits within the community that we were able to support. Organizations that were also struggling at the time. So thank you so much for your donations. It completely transformed our 2020. Yeah, thanks.
Will there be a presentation? Did you want a picture?
Can Kara take us? Yeah.
Okay.
Up here.
Thank you. All right. We've now come to the part of the meeting where we have our call to audience. Call to audience is where audience members or via Zoom, audience members via Zoom, in person, or on the phone, have the 3-minute time period in order to present or comment on anything regarding the agenda or anything else they would like to comment on. So we will start with the members of the audience first, and 3 minutes, and we will have Councilmember Bruno James to do the time clock.
Okay.
Welcome.
Hello. Hi, Council. I'm Dave Cottrell from 1610 Bowfield. Today I'm representing the Sierra Club Green Cruise. After a long missed absence during 2020, annual Sierra Club Green Cruise will take place this Saturday, August the 14th. They have an 8 a.m. 42-mile bicycle ride to Belle Isle and a 9 a.m. 8-city 22-mile ride to Birmingham. We'll start from Ferndale City Hall, returning approximately noon. These rides parallel Woodward and are held rain or shine. The rides are led by several Detroit area bicycle clubs, such as the Wolverine Touring Group, they're the slower group, our more reasonably riding group, Dearborn Rides, and Beat the Train from out of near Fort Wayne, Detroit. The pace of the Belle Isle ride is 17 miles per hour and 22 to 16 miles per hour. That's to give a warning, like if you can ride that pace, then you could consider the 42-mile ride. The Birmingham ride is 12 miles per hour, and that's one I would be more likely to go on. The rider should be conditioned for the ride before signing up. So most riders start, like May, they start riding, they ride 10 miles a week or gradually get it up, and then they're ready from come August to begin the ride. In keeping with the National Sierra Club COVID-19 safety guidance, there won't be a mask requirement on the ride or while you're outside, but while entering restrooms such as Ferndale City Hall or doing the rest stops, masks are strongly encouraged. No in-person payment will be taken during the day of the event. That's also kind of a COVID precaution, and it makes it simpler for us. And tickets for the rides are available now on Eventbrite. You could search Green Cruise. And you riders will need to sign your Sierra Club waiver the day of the event. It's just like any outside activity, outing. Your participation helps promote Sierra Club's principles of exploration, enjoyment, and protection of the planet. We hope to see many Ferndale bicyclists exploring the metro area with us during the Green Cruise on Saturday, August the 14th. So thank you.
Thank you. I was just going to say it would be nice to see the Green Cruise back in Ferndale again.
Yes,
Missed
yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's like since 2016, it was the last time we had an event, where we were on East 9 Mile and we had the bicycle rides. Since 2017, we've been just the 2 bicycle rides, and it was like almost didn't know. Of course, like everybody else, didn't know what to do during 2020.
Right.
But now, 2021, we could go ahead and do it.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. All right, so at this point, do we have any other members of the audience that'd like to have public comment? All right, seeing none, I will turn this over to Kara Sokol, who will let us know who'd like to speak regarding online, so the Zoom participants, via phone or via Zoom.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So I don't see anybody with their hand raised right now. I would just remind anybody if they want to make a comment to use the raise hand feature on their Zoom call. It's a pretty small group though, so we might not have anybody. We do have one call in. Number is a 248 number, last 3 digits 209. I have unmuted that person if they wish to speak.
All right. Caller, what was that? The last 4 digits?
209.
209. The mic is open for you to speak.
And they are not unmuting, so my guess is they would not like to share anything tonight.
All right.
And that would be it then.
All right. Well, with that being said, I will close call to audience, and we will move on to the consent agenda item. Consent agenda item 7A, approval of the regular and special meeting minutes of July 12, 2021. 7B, approval of the on-call electrical maintenance and repair services for the municipal facilities by Great Lakes Power and Lighting for up to $25,000 annually, with the expense charged to general fund, facilities maintenance, contract services, 101-265-818-000, and approval for the DPW facilities manager to sign an agreement with Great Lakes Power and Lighting after approval by city attorney. 7C, approval of a resolution to commit the city of Ferndale's participation in Oakstem 2021 Oakland County Street and Tree Enhancement Pilot Program. Item 7D, approval to backfill one police officer position left open due to a recent resignation. 7E, approval to purchase 2 replacement trailers from DR Trailer Sales in the amount of $8,048. The expense to be charged to the general fund, City Parks Department Capital Outlay Vehicles, account number 101-750-977.500. 7F, approval of the merit increase addressed in the city's adopted compensation policy and a 2% increase of the city's contribution in the city manager's defined contribution program, and reconsideration of the city manager's wages upon completion of a wage and compensation study. 7G, approval of payment to Markers Group for the 2020 Water Quality Report in the amount of $2,637. The expense to be charged to the Water Fund Operating Supplies, account number 592-000-740. 7H, approval of the bills and payrolls as submitted by the city manager's office and subject to review by the Council Finance Committee. Will entertain a motion.
I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Councilmember Palka,
Yes.
Councilmember James,
Yes.
Councilmember Mikulski,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Leaksman.
Yes. And with that, we'll move on to the regular agenda, where we have one item tonight, which is the approval of the critical building repairs at Kulik Center for up to $25,000, with the expense charged to the general fund, facilities maintenance. With that being said, I'll allow the city manager, Joseph Gasho, to present on that agenda item.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, through the chair. Initially, we had an intention to bring this item up to invest $25,000 to make some repairs that are listed in the call to action, with the objective of reopening the Kulik Center partially to accommodate several community groups who have expressed an interest in meeting there, also listed in the call to action. As the public, and you may know, we closed the Kulik Center upon, as part of our initial response to the pandemic last year, and we've yet to reopen it. And so we asked our facilities manager, James Jameson, to give us an analysis of some repairs initially. That repair list changed abruptly following this weekend's storm. We had significant disruptive change at the Kulik Center, and I'm not sure if, Kara, you are able to bring up a picture of the damage to the Kulik Center that was done. Significant structural damage to the ceiling. James Jameson, the city's facility manager, has been investigating it. The proximity of this damage to electrical required us to terminate power to the building, and it will remain off until we continue to better assess what path moving forward. So I would recommend, and James will speak about just a summary of his findings today with the insurance adjuster. But I would recommend the council table this indefinitely while we continue to assess the scope of the problem with Kulik Center. And meanwhile, I will also let the public and council know I've asked the CED director, Jordan Torty, to work with Lorena Wheeler, the Parks and Rec director, to provide some alternative temporary accommodations so that we can make sure that we are able to accommodate the community, the public community space. So we are exploring some options to temporarily do that. I don't have anything in detail to report on that this time, but we are aware that the need to use that by both commissions and members of the public, such as seniors and VFW, that still remains to be a problem that we need to address. So we are exploring some alternative temporary solutions. And with that, James, are you available to speak to just to summarize the damage and possibly some of the root causes that you're exploring at the Kulik Center?
Yeah, Joe, I'm here. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So as everyone knows, we had a high rainfall event. We got anywhere between 1.5 to 2 inches of rain, and it all came down in like a half an hour or 45 minutes. That rain overwhelmed the section of roof over the boiler. There was a roof leak that occurred directly over where that picture was taken. The water penetrated the roof, got into the ceiling, and the weight of the water basically crashed that section of roof or ceiling that's under the roof. And right now, instead of being supported by the anchors that are meant to hold it up, it is basically being held up by an electrical conduit that's going into the main distribution panel where all the power comes into the building. That's what makes this issue a difficult issue to fix. Normally you would think, well, you just have a roof leak, you fix the roof and move on. But the proximity to the utilities is what's gonna require some extra precaution, some extra time and labor, and a little bit more time to really come together and figure out the right course of action. We had the insurance adjuster out there. We kind of went over everything. He verified that it is going to be a tricky repair, which we kind of already assumed with the location of utilities. We should have this done tomorrow. We're going to do some asbestos testing, which is the first step because no one's going to come in and fix it until we know exactly what they're dealing with, at which point we're going to start working on estimates, timelines, and putting things together and figuring out the best solution to handle the issue.
Thank you, James. I would add, just for the public's knowledge, we also experienced significant flooding in City Hall as well. And if you're in council chambers, you can see some of the impacts of that. And the dot basement also experienced the similar kind of flooding. So our community certainly experienced some issues as well, and we are exploring ways that we can look into that, creative ways that we can look into addressing that as best as we can possible. So that's another project task team. I asked our CED department to work with our sustainability planner on exploring possible stormwater mitigation programs that we can discuss in future meetings. I don't have anything more detail right now, but I did want to communicate to the City Council and the public that we do recognize the drastic toll that these repeated storms continue to have, and this unfortunately seems to be the new normal for Metro Detroit and or Michigan, because I feel like we're having these conversations on an annual basis every July now. And so we are going to think about what options we do have to present City Council to consider moving forward. With that, I will open the questions, and this is also, James, so you can anticipate the question. If you could also give us an update on the facilities condition assessment timeline. As you all know, City Council approved a comprehensive facilities condition assessment for all municipal facilities, including the Kulik Community Center.
Yeah, so far we have done the DPW in the Southwest Storage Yard. They did the on-site assessments for those 2 weeks ago. This week we're beginning at City Hall. There was so much going on that we moved the on-site assessment to the police department, and we'll be doing City Hall tomorrow. Kulik Center will be assessed on the 12th of August. Most of the other buildings will be done this week, at which point we will we will have a conversation with all the department heads to do the facility spacing study and some other stuff, and then we'll coordinate with them. We expect to have a gap of maybe 1.5 months between the last assessment and the results of the studies. We should have a finished report, I would assume 2 months after that, or I'm sorry, 2 months after the last assessment. So we should be looking at late September.
All right, then with that being said, who will entertain a motion to table regular agenda item 8A until further notice?
I move to table item 8A indefinitely.
Or Clerk?
Councilmember James?
Yes.
Councilmember Mikulski?
Yes.
Councilmember Polika?
Yes.
And Mayor Pro Tem Lee Swain.
Yes. With that being said, we are at the portion of our meeting where it's called to council, and I will let city manager go through the department heads. I will not venture to try to do that right now.
Oh, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Before I begin, I'm going to give an opportunity to reintroduce our outgoing finance director, Cheryl Johnson. Cheryl, are you available at this time to receive a second round of acknowledgements?
I am, and I can actually see you this time.
Wonderful. It's like being invited to a party that no one showed up for. Earlier, this is a picture of the award that was presented to Cheryl earlier this year. It's our 5-year Director Public Service Award. So, Cheryl, I'm not going to repeat the whole resolution, but I wanted to take the opportunity to publicly express my sincere thanks for your your approach to stabilizing the finance department, your contributions as a leader, and for always leading as a relationships person first. If there's one person that exemplifies empathy, it's you on this team. So I appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. I appreciated getting the award. It'll be the first thing I take to my new office. But really, you know, it's part of a team. And being part of a team that was such a great group of people that always worked together, you know that people always had your back. And that's what makes Ferndale one of my absolute favorite places to work. And I've worked in some pretty cool places, but I think Ferndale definitely takes the top of the list. And I will miss all of you, but of course you will see me around because I'm not leaving Ferndale as a hangout. I'm just not going to be there during the day.
All right, well, Cheryl, we made some comments at the beginning, so I just want to thank you for all that you've given to the city, and I won't repeat the comments. I'll leave that for you to kind of listen to, but we appreciate all that you've done for us here and wish you nothing but the best. Does anyone have any other additional comments? Well, we have Cheryl.
I'm going to miss you a lot, Cheryl. I really enjoyed working with you. You're just a wonderful person, and I'm sad to see you go, but I'm happy you're going to go to a job that you'll enjoy as well. So all the best to you. But I also know that I'm going to see you at Jace Penalty.
Oh yeah, you'll see me there. You'll see me at Pride. You'll see me at a few events, I'm sure. I'll look for you now.
And through the chair, I'll repeat what Mayor Pro Tem said and encourage you to look at the beginning of the meeting on YouTube. But I would like to reiterate my congratulations on your new opportunity. It's phenomenal, and I'm really happy for you.
And through the chair, I'll just say congratulations. Numbers person to numbers person. I am so sad to see you go, and I really hope that we find somebody of your caliber for this position.
Well, thank you all so very much. It really means a lot to me.
Thanks, Cheryl. I know you're eating an olive pizza or wings from Jay's right now.
That may or may not be true.
Next, we'll shift over to our police chief with an update on hiring and staffing. And a special acknowledgement.
This is live? Okay, yeah. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. I came up here to let you know that we just got a really nice attaboy from the state of Michigan, and I just wanted to take an opportunity to read you that letter. It says, Dear Chief Emmy, I am writing to acknowledge the exemplary work and dedication recently demonstrated by members of your staff. On June 24th, 2021, Ms. Christine McFarland conducted a law enforcement information network / National Crime Information Center audit of the Ferndale Police Department. Ms. Tamika Brooks, your agency's terminal agency coordinator, was with Ms. McFarland throughout the audit process. The responsibility of managing and ensuring the accuracy, security, and integrity of criminal justice information systems is a shared responsibility of all federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies. It was evident to Ms. McFarland that the Ferndale Police Department and its staff embraced this management responsibility and philosophy. Ms. McFarland commented on how well prepared your staff were. All requested documents and records were readily available, up to date, and accurate. All criminal history record queries were clearly and correctly substantiated. All record entries reviewed during the audit showed timely and accurate entry and validation. Overall, the findings show that your department was compliant in all the audit components addressed. Where was I? This is a remarkable accomplishment, especially in these current times and circumstances, and I feel that you and your staff should be recognized and congratulated for their hard work and efforts. Please extend to your staff my appreciation on a job well done for all that they do in the interest of the public safety. And that's signed Ms. Michelle Kuzera, Division Director of the Criminal Justice Information Center. So this, it really is a testament to Ms. Tamika Brooks' dedication and her leadership. Sometimes police officers can be like herding cats if they're not like really motivated by something, but she's able to get everybody's attention, make them understand how important this is, and keep them on task. And it really is a testament to Mickey and the job she does. So congratulations to Mickey, job well done. Additionally, we are currently down on one dispatcher and one police officer. We'll be filling those spots shortly. Our staff that is currently in the FTO process or the FTO training program, they're moving through well. We just released one officer onto solo patrol this week, and we anticipate more following in the next couple weeks. So you're going to see an increase in staffing. I know we're only technically one officer down, but it takes several months of training to get these officers to count as staffing and till they can prove that they're policing at our standard. So I'm happy to announce that those numbers will be increasing shortly, and we're hoping to be a full staff hopefully by September, at least officers that are on solo patrol. So thank you for your support, and we want to thank the HR department for all our help in the hiring process. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief. Next, we have our interim DPW Director, Dana Antosik, to touch base on construction and talk a little stormwater. Dan?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. So far this year, construction has been moving on and progressing as we scheduled for, as long as the weather holds off and works for us. So at this time, paving's going well. Lead service line replacements have been going well. And last week we completed the last of the actual lane of pipe for our water main projects, and that includes Martin Road, Academy over on the east side between Wanda and West End, and the water main and sewer main for the future splash pad over at Martin Road Park. So now we are going to begin the actual street reconstruction and finish up our service line tie-ins for the water main project and keep things moving on that. And then next, I would like to address the rain event that occurred Saturday night. Saturday night, we did experience a significant rain event. As James, our facilities manager, touched on earlier this evening, according to reports, we received between 1.5 inches and 2 inches of rain within a short period of time. It roughly lasted between 30 and 45 minutes. And because of the amount of rainfall that occurred at that time, and within that short period of time in which it occurred, we did experience an overwhelmed system for what our system is designed to actually manage. And because of which we did experience some street flooding, which we had crews out addressing Saturday night, in addition to quite a few residents experienced some basement backups because of which. And we are working through these issues. As Joe touched on earlier, this event that occurred tonight is similar to the event that occurred July 10th of last year. And these intense rainfall events are something that is becoming much more commonplace. We have been seeing this in communities around us, and we have been fortunate enough to not experience one until this Saturday this year. And fortunate enough for us, it was, almost 2 inches of rain in a short period of time instead of 6 inches like we saw in Detroit and, the Grosse Points earlier this month. And, that goes to show why we are, factoring in our climate action plan to our master land use plan that we're currently going through right now, and getting on board with the ICLEI and so on to address these climate changes that we're experiencing. And, we didn't experience any failures in our infrastructure. What we experienced was a rain event that our infrastructure was not built to truly deal with. So the one thing to keep in mind is when rain events like this occur and the catch basins may be clogged with debris or something like that, DPW will be out to address those. And if a resident or property owner does want to clear the catch basins and alleviate some of that flooding that is going on in the street, they can do so. But just make sure that you're doing so when the weather allows for us to do so. Not when it's lightning is occurring, the heavy rainfall is occurring. Wait for that to subside. But also keep in mind that water on the street during those types of events is not a bad thing. While it may make the street semi-impassable or difficult to get to your vehicle without getting your shoes wet, that is keeping additional stormwater from entering into our sewer system. And because we have a combined sewer system, what goes into, the toilet, the sink, or the shower the stormwater all goes into those same pipes. And when that is occurring, and you see, your street has a couple inches of water on it, it's not a bad thing. Personally, I enjoy seeing water on the streets because that means that's less water entering our system. And for some homeowners, when we are having an extremely intense rain event like we had Saturday night, and you have the ability to not do dishes, not take a shower, or wash your clothes, that is beneficial for not just yourself, but your neighbors and our community at large. Because that's that much less water that is entering our sewer system. And, working with Erin Cattell, our sustainability planner, she works closely with Oakland County Water Resources Commission and our drainage district at large on not only how we can best protect ourselves from these type of rain events, but how we can do so as a region. Because it is going to take a regional approach to help best mitigate these impacts on our residents, our property owners, and our community. So we have been fielding these calls, mapping out where these basement backups have been occurring, and we're going to do our best with our team, with our crews, to make sure that we stay up on our regular scheduled maintenance for our water and sewer system, and then how best we can improve and protect ourselves from our future events. And that's all I have tonight, Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have an update about the elections through the city clerk's office.
Thank you, Joe. Yes, I just wanted to let everybody know that Ferndale does not have an election next week on August 3rd. Many communities do, so we are getting some questions from folks asking if we are having an election. We are not. Our next election will be the November 2nd election for City Council and Mayor. Our election schedule is always available from the city's website at our elections page as well. So information about elections and dates are available there, and we will be looking for folks to work in November. So we're accepting applications starting anytime. Thank you.
Through the chair, if I may ask a question. Marnie, I'm getting a lot of volunteers asking, especially the seniors, if we're going to be doing elections the same way this year as we have in the last couple of years, which is batching a lot of the absentee ballots and sending them to the county to count, and just having a handful here in the city.
We haven't really discussed that much yet. I suspect, though, we're going to have much lower numbers of absentee ballots to deal with this year than we did last year. So I'm leaning towards having the absentee counting boards on site again, but as soon as we have that decision finalized, I will let you know.
I wasn't sure if it's because I believe all we have is council and mayor on this ballot. We don't have any county or state initiatives.
That's correct.
So I thought we're probably going to end up having it all here because we don't have anything at the county level. Okay, that's what I anticipated. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right.
Next, we have an update from Fire Chief Teresa Robinson.
Good evening, everybody. So I just want to do a quick update, a reminder. Everybody, it's summer and everybody wants to do recreational burns. Can we go up there?
Yeah, I don't think we're hearing you through the.
I will try that again. Good evening, everybody. So I just want to remind everybody, I know that's some change or there's some change of knowledge or information about it, but everybody enjoys doing recreational burns in their backyard. We want to ensure this stays a very positive and safe event for our community. So just a reminder for community members, if you want to have a campfire in your backyard, you have to go online and apply for a burn permit. If you have not done so this calendar year, you do not have a valid burn permit. So those permits allows us to have those really important conversations with you to ensure you can keep it safe so it stays a very fun, positive event and doesn't turn negative. So please apply for those burn permits. We streamline the process to make it a lot easier. You can click on the link right from the website. The other thing I want to bring up is, similar to Chief Emmy, we are opening for applications in August, looking for new firefighters. We still have vacancies that we desperately need to fill. My men and women are amazing with the way they step up to ensure that we provide the services to the city of Ferndale. But we need more people. So we will be applying or opening for applications. So it's exciting. If you know anybody, please spread the word. And I do have some promotions that are in process right now, so I will be able to announce those very soon. So a lot of exciting things.
Thank you, Chief.
And then I will close with me. I don't have much, but I will give an update on behalf of the DDA Director, Lena Stevens. As a reminder, go to downtownferndale.com to learn more about their upcoming event. I think it's called Broadway in the Burbs. I believe it's scheduled on West Troy Street on August 7th during the afternoon. Several staff will be there to support the DDA in the performance, giving out information. And I will be up there as well, raising funds for the American Cancer Society. And I was nominated to the Real Men Wear Pink campaign for Oakland County. So that requires me to wear pink every day in October and to pursue aggressive fundraising in the name of supporting breast cancer research, which I will be doing. So I will have a booth there, and if you donate, you can throw pink water at me. So please come on down and trash me. Money goes for a good fund.
So tempting.
And that will be that really is our only update at this time. So Mayor Pro Tem, to you.
All right, so with that being said, I'll now move to call to council. And I will go in alphabetical order according to our last name. So first person up is Councilmember Bruner James.
Nothing from me.
All right. And then next up is Councilmember Mikulski.
Nothing from me tonight as well.
Councilmember Polika.
I have nothing else either.
All right, well, with that being said, I will make up something. I just wanted to actually, I had hoped that actually the communications director, you all have been working so hard online and being responsive to the community members' needs, and the numbers that you posted were just phenomenal. I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, in a good way as far as response, not in a good way as far as people needing to reach out. But I just want to really thank you for going over and beyond to being responsive to the community needs. And I don't know if you have those numbers in front of you, but they were something to see. Yeah. And thank you to DPW and to Dan Antosik and to James Jameson. Thank you. City Manager Gasho, because it was a pretty terrible storm, and I think the city is being very responsive, so I'm very proud of that. With that being said, I move that this meeting is adjourned at 8:40, and have a good evening.